Previewing Week 14 in college football right now with Joe Duffy from OffshoreInsiders.com. Joe's going to take 5 games that I assigned him, all great games that will be fun to watch on the field. Not necessarily great betting situations, but we'll see what we have to say, what Joe has to tell us about possible value here. Joe, thanks for being back with us.
Thank you, Peter. What a weekend it's going to be.
Yeah, it is. Before we get into Clemson, South Carolina, tell us how things are going at OffshoreInsiders.com.
No, things are going very well, especially the last several weeks. We've been on fire in college football, in part because of one of the great systems in sports that actually applies 8 times this weekend, but still well over 60% for the year, college and pro football combined, going back to the preseason with our highest rated Wise Guy plays.
Okay, that's great. Says it all. Clemson, South Carolina, I don't even need to preview this game, do I? We know the deal. Both these teams are freaking awesome. The line is South Carolina -5 at home, totals 58. The line did go down a little bit. It was 5.5 a while ago, and I did notice one thing that is notable is that the Greek appears to have a lean towards Clemson. They're hanging 4.5 right now. Other than that, standard game, both are awesome. Going to be a great, intense game. My gut feeling is that, the line's a little bit too high. Clemson should probably be able to take this one down to the wire, right? So I guess if I had to bet it, Clemson +5. But other than that, feels like a pass to me. What do you like here, Joe?
No, again, we're agreeing. I'm not really in love with this game. I'm going to say with 98% certainty, it's not going to be a premium release for me, except I'm actually going a little bit more towards the other side. As a general rule of thumb, obviously, whenever in doubt, you go with the SEC, which is the better conference, but you're not going to pick on a game just blindly picking one conference against another conference. But I think it comes down to what I always like to say, 90% of the game's half mental. I take that old Yogi Berraism, and I do think it has some handicapping ramifications. Taj Boyd has played his worst against South Carolina. Now, in part, it's because I think Steve Spurrier is certainly the better coach here. Dabo Swinney, he's great as far as recruiting, and he has the team emotionally ready. But I think when it comes to X's and O's, that South Carolina does have the better coach, and Taj Boyd has struggled mightily against South Carolina. Now, you do want to consider that, in a rivalry game, and this is a much bigger rivalry than most of the country realizes, it's pretty tough to find an edge as far as maybe a look ahead. But South Carolina still has a small chance, if they get some help from the schedule maker, they could wind up playing for the SEC title. This is a non-conference game. So if either team could be kind of looking a little a bit ahead, it is South Carolina. But at the end of the day, I am going to go with South Carolina because they've dominated the recent series, and Taj Boyd has played his worst football 3 times. He's played poorly against South Carolina.
All right, it's going to be a great, great game. We'll see how the game turns out. This might be one of those games that I'll personally watch, but I think we're agreeing we're probably going to pass as far as betting is concerned. Joe Duffy liking South Carolina -5 very, very, very mildly. Thanks, Joe.
All right, thank you, Peter.